We're talking actors and directors who put on the shows.
We're talking playwrights and designers who you'll want to know.
From the very first rehearsal to the final curtain call.
We might be off Broadway, but we're talking about it all.
'Cause we're two local gals
With global pals, it's everything, everything, everything theater.
with Benita
And Ellen. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Everything Theater Podcast Backstage episode. All the glitz and glam of the episode, but without makeup. I'm Ellen Cribbs.
And I'm Benita Zahn. This is so backstage. We both look like the way we do when we walk into the theater, right? There's no makeup. I mean, God knows the hair's got to get done, or we're being wigged or something, right?
Yeah, and I've got like
doggies.
quarantine hair coming back. Like these bangs are out of control.
Well, being the summertime, I finally did get into the pool. Not ours, but I got into take a swim today. So I've definitely got that, does she have it or doesn't she? Yes, the after pool look. But you've got great hair. Those are good bangs. I can come over and I did my husband's hair. I cut it during a pandemic.
Oh, really? No, that would be great. I cut it myself sometimes, and then every time I go into a stylist, they say, "Who cut your bang?"
Okay, I have a trick. This is a good trick for anybody who's cutting bangs, men, women. You take your bangs and you twist them, and then you trim and see how long they are, and then trim and trim. Like this, you don't get that Buster Brown right across the face.
Well, today I cut my daughter's bangs. So she's 22 months old, and she was just sitting at dinner, and I just kind of snuck in and just went choo, 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 choo. She was not very happy about it, but they're for the most part straight.
There you go. You see, you're ruining her at that age. Years from now, she'll go, "Do you remember, Mother? You took those scissors while I was enjoying dinner, and you cut my bangs, and hair fell in my macaroni and cheese."
I figure it's like a month and a half till her birthday, so her bangs can even themselves out by then.
Yeah, whatever you did wrong, it'll look good. So I hope everybody's having fun. I hope you're catching some theater. There's been an awful lot of theater, much of it out of doors. I hate to use the C word, but that is looming large over the autumn scheduling. We already saw that in New York, West Side Story, the revival will not be reopening. You can, in fact, buy a ticket probably for a good seat and not have to, mortgage your house or sell your first or second or even third born to go see Hamilton. Tickets are available for that show. And, Ellen, I know you're aware of this, that many are pointing to the availability of tickets for Hamilton as indicative of what's going on and the reticence of theater goers to return. Even though the Met just worked out a deal with their orchestra to do a live performance in September. So who knows?
Well, I saw an interesting article that was saying all the big ticket shows, Hamilton, Lion King, Wicked, shows that usually are booked out months, in advance. They're struggling, but the ones that are doing well are typically the straight plays, like Passover is doing very well because the New York City crowd, people who live in New York and have seen Hamilton and all those big ones, they don't want to do the touristy shows, are going to these, straight plays, new plays. But the tourist ones, no one's there to see a play as a tourist at the moment.
And I still want to go see Hadestown.
Yeah.
That's one that had been, we need a road trip for that, Ellen.
Definitely.
But again, that's not opening until I think October, as memory serves. But yeah, Passover, let's head on down. I mean, we're sort of touristy, but we're not here. We're just off Broadway.
Exactly.
But closer to home, Capitol Rep had their ribbon cutting. And I've got their deets. They had their ribbon cutting on the 24th, followed by a performance of Ethel Waters, His Eyes on the Sparrow. You've seen it. You saw it in preview, didn't you?
I did. And it was beautiful. The talent was amazing and really interesting story. I didn't know who Ethel Waters was. So I know a lot of her music, but didn't know the woman, the legend. And so it was very well done and a good COVID show because it's just her and Josh, who's amazing on the piano. Just the two of them. And but it was a very captive show, and beautiful new space. It was very fun to be in
It's
there with
beautiful
no
there.
pillars in the way.
Right. And they've done a great job of maintaining some of the original structure of the theater. It had been an old baking company. And they're in the basement. There's still the facade of, I think, 3 of the ovens, the brick facades
Oh, that's
are
cool.
still there. And it's very, very neat. And that's the area where they're keeping a lot of the costumes. It's nice and cool down there. And they had a heck of a turnout of folks, including the artistic director of the Black Theater Troupe of upstate New York and an associate artist at the Rep, Jean-Remy Monet, with whom I've got the great fortune of performing with right now in Barbecue, a regional premiere of a play by Robert O'Hara. And it's quite fascinating because, let's see, Ellen, what's post date for us today?
We're gonna post this on Thursday, so yeah,
There
you
you
can
go. So
plug
you guys,
away for your next weekend.
right, you can come Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to see the show, which is I'm hoping, but I think that I won't be able to see the first show. I'm taking a look, see on dates that it runs through. Oh, it's nice. They've got some. They're celebrating with various pre-show performances under the awning out front. So Thursday is Carmen Lookshire, and guitarist Carmen is a wonderful performer, singer, and actress locally. And then Dee Collin will perform spoken words and poetry on Friday the 27th. And then there's another aspect to all this that we can discuss, is that you have to be vaccinated and masked in order to go attend any shows as part of the Proctor's Collaborative, which Capital Rep is. So tell us about that experience, Ellen.
It was really interesting for me because when I bought my ticket, most of the seats were not available. Now, I assumed that they were sold. I don't know if Cap Rep, took seats out of being sold to help spacing. I'm not sure. But on the day of, I was just kind of curious because I thought, it would be nice not to be sitting directly next to someone. I wonder if I can move my seat.
Mm-hmm.
And there were like half the seats available. So a lot more than originally were. My row was still full, but when I got there, I had like 2 to 3 empty seats on either side of me. So I don't know if that was seats that they were reserving to try to space, or if it were people who originally bought tickets and then didn't come, whether it was because they weren't vaccinated or, didn't want to go through the hassle of it or felt uncomfortable. I was very curious, and I wonder how their ticket sales will be.
We will have to reach out.
Yeah.
Maggie.
But I personally, I'm a big fan of that decision because as an audience member, it was the first and probably only indoor show I'll see this, this end of summer, fall, winter. And I had a little hesitation going in, but then seeing that I had room and everyone was masked and I knew everyone was vaccinated made me feel a lot more comfortable.
And that's a real issue. We're doing barbecue this weekend, but it's out of doors at the Stephen and Harriet Myers house, which was a central location for the Underground Railroad in Albany, which makes this even more appropriate because there's both a white and black cast playing the same people in barbecue. And it really makes you, it points up how the world looks at a situation when the actors, whether they're acting or, the actors in life, are black or white.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an exciting piece to be produced. Wonderful cast. David Gerard from the Troy Foundry Theater is co-directing with Remy, but it's out of doors. Yeah. My next, I'm going to brag here. I got cast with the Two of Us Productions in Clobrook. They're doing Cabaret. And one of your actors, Fred Siros, is playing Herr Schultz, and I'm Fraulein Schneider. But I'm going to tell you, I'm excited to be part of this, but I'm not sure it'll get mounted. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we're going to learn a lot in the next month, to see what the fall really looks like. We'll see. Hopefully for your case, the worst case would be it would be postponed to the spring. I know that Fauci was saying today that if, everybody really does push forward with the vaccinations, the spring hopefully will be a turning point. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
I wonder if those of you listening, what do you think? Are you going to go inside and watch theater? A lot of the Berkshires have built theater stages out of doors.
Mm-hmm.
Come be comfortable. Or they did 1 or 2 person shows.
Yeah.
Just like the Rep. So, share your thoughts with us. How do you feel about theater as we move into the colder months, performing and being part of the audience?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because sadly, we'll lose the ability to go outdoors in the not too distant future.
I know.
But that is our segue for our question today, which was asking what people love and hate about outdoor theater, because it's its own beast.
I can tell you right now. I mean, you did it. What did you love and hate?
Mine's very similar to what a lot of people said. I love how accessible it is. Very, even in times of not COVID, it just allows for more audience and more room and, just more accessibility to everyone. But
And you can eat dinner.
Yeah, and you can eat dinner. Yeah. But I hate mosquitoes, and mosquitoes love me. So I found, though, this is my tip, like your bang tip earlier. This is my tip to our audiences today. One of my cast members in Servant of Two Masters did her research and found a list of what they considered the best mosquito repellent, because I tried off on our first night outdoors in rehearsal, and I head to toe covered and like bruised because I'm just so sensitive to them.
Yeah.
And so then she said Repel, which is non-DEET, and it's like a lemon eucalyptus blend.
Ooh.
I tried that. It stinks. Like you definitely have a stench to you, but it worked so well. And there was one night where I literally just covered myself head to toe with it. I sprayed my chair down with it because I love to get under your thighs and everything.
Yes.
But I thought I got everything. I missed one section of my body, from my upper back by my shoulder blade down to my waistline on one side. I had 11 mosquito bites in that tiny area of my body, and nowhere else, because I had hit the Repel on everyone.
What's amazing to me is you would think that it would work like a shield all around you.
You would think. They find any tiny little.
My word. Yeah, we've been using off, and somebody brought some kind of a cream that really smells pretty awful. We use that. And the whole cast, you'll see we're all wearing but it looks like the whole cast, like you're wearing a hair scrunchie. It's one of those mosquito bands.
Right.
We've got those on, and I've incorporated that into my character's jewelry.
We also used citronella oil in tiki torches. Those really help the audience. I kept them at bay for the audience. Not actors, not so much, because we put them in the audience. But we had I taped out a part of our prop table backstage, and it was just for bug spray. I think there was like 12 cans there at the end.
And everybody, the whole cast walks in, and they're all going, "What you got?" And you spraying. And then we're not enclosed, but it's a plastic 2-side, roof and sides, so sort of like the greenhouse at the Stephen and Harriet Meyer's house. It's open on the ends, but it's warmer in there. And if you spray, so everybody's like, "Take it outside." But I am outside. It's crazy. You've got Patrick's up, don't you?
Yeah, let me see what Patrick said. So he said the things he loves: discovering new spaces, environments, and theatrical practices, seeing theater for the first time again, and seeing how the artists adapt and use their surroundings. This summer has produced a handful of once-in-a-lifetime, most extraordinary theater experiences I've ever seen. Not love: always a chance you're going to get rained out, and you're left with nothing to do for the night, and you have to reschedule. Patrons who think that because they're outside, they don't have to follow theater etiquette. Bugs and rain: being unprepared for chill.
We put up a tent, so you're covered. And we're pretty well, even the actors are pretty well covered with tarp. We have also asked that everybody come masked. And if you don't have one, we've got a box of masks at the check-in table.
Fantastic.
and there is a porta-john for the audience, and the cast has a porta-john out back for us.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
so
there you go.
just saying, Steven says, love seeing the community gather in the bright of day. Hate ice cream trucks. That cracks me up. I don't think about that. It's more the fire engines, or if you're at Park Playhouse and they're right near the hospital, the life light. You hear that go by. And after all, you don't hear it anymore.
Well, it's funny because this is Steve Hennell, who was president of Confetti when I did a show with them. And the thing is, we just did 72 Masters by the airport. So you'd get planes.
Right.
But the thing is, a plane taking off, it's loud, but it's like 20 seconds max, and it's done, it's over. But what they used to do at Tenbrook Mansion in Albany, there was this ice cream truck and he would just park and just hang out there for like 5 minutes. So if you're trying to do this dramatic scene, it's just blaring.
Yeah, no, it's like, dude, please come back with the strawberry shortcake later.
Let's see. Ryan says, I always find outdoor theater uncomfortable from an audience standpoint because I'm very prone to bad reactions to heat, and that sort of theater is always in summer. I also absolutely hate mosquitoes. That said, there's something about outdoor theater that is visceral, like we're connecting to one of the earliest forms of storytelling. Yeah. I also used to love acting in outdoor theater because it almost plunged you into a different world alongside the audience.
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, you think of the Greeks, and their beautiful amphitheaters. And
yeah. And Megan and I can eat to go to the theater together. She'd love being able to bring snacks.
See, I still can't eat in outdoor theater. I just find it weird.
Oh, you know what? When we came to see your show, we were hungry. It was dinner time. We brought, goodness, we were in a rush. We brought yogurt. I sat there,
But you can't.
Like I was not unwrapping stuff. I'd already opened it.
Exactly. As long as it's not distracting. Let's see. Rob says, I love outdoor theater, particularly evening performances. Growing up on Long Island, I saw more Broadway touring shows at Jones Beach Theater as a kid than at all indoor venues combined. It was a magical venue right next to the ocean with one stage in front of the audience and another out on the water. That sounds amazing. Particularly memorable was Showboat when they pulled up to the stage on the actual boat. As an actor, musician, and musical director, I've performed in park settings for thousands of people with 100-piece pit orchestras. Often the stages were tiny, temporary structures. Squeezing the 1776 cast onto them was a hoot, but every one of those shows was an extraordinary experience. I love when the sun sets just before curtain time and watching the stage lights take over as it gets darker outside. I love how the music sounds outside. I love the smell and feel of summer evening breezes at outdoor shows. All of this is well worth a few bugs. Also, I have been hotter under the lights in more indoor theaters than I have outdoors.
That is beautiful, Rob. That reads like a monologue. And I saw South Pacific at the Jones Beach Theater.
Oh, nice.
With boats. So, talk about using the space.
Yeah.
I mean, Holly says I was backstage at Towasenta. For those who don't know, that's a park south of Albany proper in Guilderland. I was backstage at Towasenta, and it was hotter than hell for production of Oliver. I played the widow Corney. I look over and this girl started to pass out from the heat. I now try to avoid outdoor functions.
That was my note to my actors. We had, one high 80s matinee, and I said, don't be a hero. If you are feeling rough or weird, change your blocking, sit down, go backstage, get some water. You got to take care of you.
You're a good director, Ellen.
Let's see. Brittany says, it's like going on a giant picnic. It seems like everyone attending is having a good time, eating yummy snacks and drinking alcohol or non-alcoholic beverages, all while enjoying theater. I'm not always 100% in it, which makes me feel a little guilty. I love being outside so much that I find myself a little distracted at times. So I feel like I never totally absorbed the play or musical that everyone works so hard to put on.
Well, come on, sister, work it.
I kind of see what she's saying, though. Sometimes, you take everything in.
Yeah. Well, Kate says, as an audience member, I have a hard time with fellow audience members that forget their theater rules just because it's outside. Phones on full brightness and loud conversations during the performance are my biggest pet peeves. Now I want to say, come on, audience. I'm going to, thankfully, we haven't experienced that in this production. You know, I've done a lot of Park Playhouse, and maybe it's just far enough away that I don't see it. Or it's, 3-4 years now since I've been on their stage and people have become less respectful. I don't know. What do you think, Ellen?
Yeah, I haven't experienced it all that much from an audience, but I could see the temptation to do it, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Nora says,
let me jump in and just Nora props. Nora and I went to college together. So Nora, thank you for being part of Everything Theater. And Nora is a very fine actress who has continued to perform on a regular basis in Central New York. Love you.
Well, you should read Nora's then.
No, please. I give you the send
off. She said, I've done multiple productions with Syracuse Shakespeare in the Park. The venue at Thornton Park Amphitheater is lovely and the audience is usually enthusiastic. But on a hot, humid day, especially if it's a matinee, being on the stage in Elizabethan costumes is brutal. And you're always in danger of getting soaked in an unexpected downpour and possibly having the show canceled. My tip for the hot days, soak wet washcloths in water and then freeze them until showtime. They provide a lot of relief.
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
And a cute, fun story. Nora once, because her name is Nora O'Day, and she once said to me, maybe I was a sophomore. She said, you were also born with the curse. I'm like, excuse me? She said, yes, like me. We have stage names. Nora O'Day, isn't that perfect?
It's a beautiful
and she's
stage
right.
name. Yeah.
So Nora, I hope I get to see you on stage in the not too distant future.
Oh.
Okay. I had to, Ryan Palmer. So what I don't love primarily as a larger gentleman is the heat and the sun. Getting overheated and sunburnt really does sap my energy. And I don't think I give as good a performance under those circumstances. Secondly, bugs. By the second weekend of Servant, Two Masters, I don't think I had any room left on my person for more bug bites. He needed to use
the Repel,
right?
Yeah. And I'll just say, Ryan, if you're listening, I never noticed your energy being any different on those matinees. Great job, sir. David, who's also in Servant of Two Masters, says, what I liked, funny enough, is I was able to convince more family and friends to go. And I think it's because it was outdoors. They felt more comfortable bringing their kids. Maybe they thought it felt more like going to the park or to a picnic. I don't know. But when I told them it was outdoors, their eyes lit up. What I don't like are the bugs. I wear a good deal of DEET to combat them all, and it feels and smells gross when I do. Also, and this is something I need to work on, I feel like I never project loud enough when I'm outdoors.
Oh, I thought you did a good job, David. I heard you.
Yeah.
I think part of the problem, but he brings up a good point, is that as a performer, you don't always have speakers. You don't always have, monitors.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't always tell how loud your voice is.
Right. Because it's just going out into the empty space. It's not, bouncing off anything.
Yeah. Lita says, it's been a while since I've done an outdoor show, but definitely agree that weather is a huge factor, especially in the summer. It's either blazing hot or rainy. One production of Midsummer I did back in 2015 poured mid-show. Thankfully, none of the lighting or sound equipment shorted out. Also, I was wearing a white dancing costume from my Titania costume. So when I got off stage, I made sure none of the goods were on display, like I was participating in a wet t-shirt contest. People who don't perform don't think about this stuff.
No, not at all. But it's funny because as a director for the first time of an outdoor show this summer, the rain was such an interesting factor because we had 2 days. Luckily, we made the right call both days. One where it was like 20% chance of rain, but I checked the radar and I wasn't seeing anything going through. It was something that had been called earlier in the day, but then it just kept kind of disappearing. And luckily, we decided to do it outdoors. We were fine. The next time, it was like we checked the radar and it said at 10:30 at night, it was going to be like horrible. And that's when our show ended. So it was like, all right, can we beat the rain? But luckily, right before we started setting up, I checked again. And all of a sudden at 7:30, it was showing something coming through. So we moved to this pavilion that we use as our rain space. And thank goodness we did, because at 7:30, this huge thunderstorm, lightning. I called places for the actors and the sky lit up and there's this huge thunderclap that's pinged off something. We could hear metal vibrating. It was crazy. But that's, you had to take the gamble. It's always tricky.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
we lost a show this past week. It was, Hello Henri, and nothing you could do. It was just too much, and because of the tent and us being protected, drizzle is not an issue, right? But wind and a lot of rain, staying home. And it came down, we all know it came down pretty good.
And you got to wonder how many audience members would be willing to watch
nobody
a show.
Nobody was going to come out. Yeah.
Let's see. Jillian says, from an audience standpoint, I love it. I've had such fond memories as a youngster of camping out and having dinner at Park Playhouse with my parents, anxiously awaiting the evening dusk so that the lights could shine on stage. Somehow the heat and bugs don't bother me so much then. I guess when I think about it, everything I complain about as a performer pales in comparison to creating those memories for others. So I say, huzzah to outdoor theater. Bring on the weather, bring on the bugs, bring on the heat. We shall prevail and have wonderful outdoor experiences.
I love that. That's great. But I'll tell you, and she's right about all that. I can see the lights coming down, the sun setting, lights coming up. But Ryan's comment was appropriate. It can be very taxing when you're in, and Nora made the comment also. We did Kiss Me Kate a number of years ago at Park Playhouse. And I'm telling you, by the third week, those costumes were walking themselves into the corner. It was, no matter what you did to try to keep them, it was just that hot. You just so much water and going in and coming out. It's tough.
So we gotta have a costumer that thinks about that stuff,
right? They just, I think they just walk around with the vodka in the spray bottle.
Just follow on stage and spray it.
This one's off. Hands up, right? Because I suspect everybody knows vodka in the spray bottle takes care of the stink in your costume. It's like a PETA shower, and I'm not going to explain that. Google it. I'm a big believer, says Sean. I'm sorry, Ellen. I'm a big believer in total immersion or none. For me, that means going all out with production design and creating the whole world of the play, or otherwise being relatively bare bones. I feel like I get both of those in outdoor theater. An outdoor environment either enhances the immersion of a play with an outdoor setting, or otherwise forces me to focus completely on the actors when the setting isn't meant to be outdoors, drawing me in that way. The downside is a number of variables that are out of the creative team's control. We can't control the weather, the bugs, or outdoor noise. With theater, as an audience, we're giving up control to an extent. As actors and directors, we're manipulating where the audience looks and listens, and hopefully causing them to think or feel something. To that end, we need the greatest possible degree of control over our environment, which we get with indoor theater, but less so outdoors.
Yeah.
And plotting sound for outdoors is a whole nother smoke. That's because of the way sound bounces.
Yeah. So are you guys using any amplification in barbecue? Yeah. You're working with Nick Neal and Nikki Lights, correct?
Yeah.
Using the floor mics.
We're all wearing, you
got body mics.
Body mics. Yes.
Nice.
And the beauty of, it's a black and white cast. So the mic screen fell off. You know, the windscreen fell off my
Oh,
microphone. I went looking, and they had found one that was black. Well, the black actors all have black mics and black windscreens, and the white actors have a lighter color. But you know, you have to stop and think. And the first thought a white actor would say is, I need one that is flesh tone.
Mm.
Well, who's flesh tone?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Right.
the beauty of this show is making you think, be cognitive of everything around you. It's
Mhm.
it's a great experience.
I can't wait to see it. I was going to see it Sunday and then it rained. So I will see it. I can't talk about it on the podcast this week, but next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, look forward to talking to you about it. Let's see. Don says, definitely The Heat and the Bugs. The show I was in the direct flight path of Dulles Airport, which is a huge airport in right outside DC. So the sound of jets flying overhead was a major problem.
Then you got to think, like, what show can I use where that would work?
Well, that's the thing. I think you have to be really clever on the shows you pick for outdoors. Like, luckily, Servant of Two Masters, breaks the fourth wall all the time. So on opening night, huge, plane went off, very, very loud during Truffaldino, the servant of Two Masters, opening monologue to the audience. And Ryan, being the genius he was, just stopped and said, "What the hell was that?" And it was a hoot. People loved it. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. You know, I'm thinking maybe they should do Boeing. You know, just whatever. And we're doing barbecue. It's set in a park. So it's for us, it's perfect. Don, nope, we got the Steve says, as a performer, I really enjoy acting outdoors. I find it a fun experience. What I don't like is that a rainy day can lead to a canceled show, which is a bummer. As a patron, I like that I can bring snacks and beverages. Okay, Megan and Steve and I are all going to hang together. But I'm not a fan of watching the show in a matinee setting because I find the sun to be distracting and unbearable at times. And I understand that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing everything at 6:00.
Yeah, that's a smart move because our first matinee was toasty, and a lot of people brought like umbrellas, to go over their thing. I wasn't smart as the director. I wore like all black. I don't know what I was thinking, and yeah, it was very hot sitting and watching.
Would you do matinee again, or would you do early? Do an early evening instead?
I do like the early evening. The only thing is that matinee, we had a huge crowd because it was a lot of the elder, crowd that loves to come to matinees. So it's,
but I wonder if it's, finding that happy medium. So you don't do, because so it's still light enough to see. So you do 4:30. I don't know.
Yeah. To let the heat die down a bit instead of doing it in the middle of the day. Yeah.
Just wondering.
Good idea. Let's see. Tony says, at this point, it's the only kind of theater I'm comfortable seeing.
And it's the COVID era. We just saw Tony. He and Colleen came to see Barbecue.
Oh, lovely.
Susie says, in Ohio, a theater group did plays in the tent between the Ohio Canal and a river. That was fine, except there was a train that ran by the river, and every night at a certain time, it ran through town. The actors literally froze in place until it went through town, then thawed and resumed. It was funny, and the audience loved it.
I think a train's better than a plane because that's more like predictable time-wise, and you can plan.
You could set your watch by it, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
And let's see, Jeffrey has a story here. He says, I was playing Ugly in Honk, which is the Ugly Duckling musical, outside at, how's this pronounced? Towasentha Park. I made my first entrance about 15 minutes into the show by hatching from an enormous egg that was fashioned out of metal straps and bubble wrap. Opening night, I hatched and delivered my first line. Mic didn't work. While I was trying to get through my first scene by yelling into my scene partner's body mic, the director sent a stage crew member out on stage to replace my mic pack. While I was trying to continue the scene, awkward. Night 2, same thing, same stage crew member. I was sweating through the mic by sitting in a bubble-wrapped egg for 15 minutes in 95-degree heat. We made some changes. Night 3, same. Poor stage crew member sneaking on stage during the scene to reach down my pants to grab the mic pack. On night 4, the lovely actress that played my mother was delivering her first song while I was waiting to hatch. Her mic went out. I assumed she'd either struggle through or the poor stage manager would come out and reach up her skirt. Nope. The next thing I heard was the director over the God mic stopping the show and telling the actress to exit stage right to have her mic fixed. While I was waiting in my bubble wrap egg to hatch, sweating my feathers off. I had some foul language, which I continued to roast, pun intended. A minute or two later, she returned to the stage. The pit restarted her song from the top, of course. I continued to sweat in my bubble-wrapped hell. I finally hatched, delivered my first line, and miracle of miracles, my mic worked and kept working for the rest of the run. Also, Dave Dixon likes to tell the story from the production of Titanic that I directed, that during his beautiful song delivered just before he went down with the ship, spoiler alert, a Southwest flight flew overhead, killing the mood every damn night.
I like the line at the end, to plane, to plane.
To plane.
And then there are the clever ways to try to protect mics. At Park Playhouse, we put them in condoms.
Yeah.
So somebody, we always joke, who ordered, the bag of 2,000 blue, black, pink, green, whatever condoms, condoms.
That's a fun thing to look at a theater's budget and just be like, what is this huge expense for condom?
Right. Does that come with an STD lecture? But, it works. We're wearing a beautiful pack right now, but they're not in condoms. And I'll tell you, I hate sticking the pack with the microphone in the Ziploc bag that's just mine because, COVID, we all have our own, because I really feel like, man, that belt should get aired out for 24 hours.
Yeah.
But it's fun times in the OK Corral. So, yeah, so, we can, the next time we get together, talk about going, and look, Tony Pallone already said, he's not, it was pretty clear. He's not.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Will people continue with their fall and winter planning, or is this going to be another hiatus?
Yeah. And, I subscribe to Backstage. And I'm looking at, there's a ton of, casting calls.
Yeah.
So everybody is hoping and wishing. But I'm hoping and wishing.
Yeah.
We may want to talk to the folks at some point, Ellen, from Yankee Trails.
Oh, yeah.
They run the bus tours. For those of you who are in the 518 and wherever you are, somebody's running bus tours to your town. They also run them over to Boston for shows, and there's so many lives, so much money affected.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's great to mount a production, but if an audience isn't willing to come see it, the theater can't survive, unfortunately.
I have no answers.
No, it's frustrating. I was hoping to go out for my birthday to a restaurant that I knew had outdoor seating. And when I got there, they said, oh, we don't have enough staff to, serve people outdoors.
Yeah.
And I said, well, unfortunately, I have to go. I had my daughter with me, and I was like, I don't feel comfortable her being indoors, unprotected. And here we are getting up to her second year birthday, and I'm going to have to start putting a mask on her, which I really thought I would never have to worry about, a year ago. And it's frustrating. And I've signed her up for a class, and I don't know, if she's going to be willing to wear a mask at 2 years old. I don't know.
Right. And you and I have not been face to face, save for
No.
seeing you at Servant of Two Masters. we started doing these podcasts sitting across from each other. We would sit at News Channel 13 when I was there in the conference room, and our guests would come in. And sometimes we took the show on the road. We went to, when the actors would come through at Proctor's through the tour companies, but we haven't done that. And, we're both living as protected lives as possible. We're testing. We tested first week of the show, and we tested second week for the show. And, I went to the first rehearsal, and they're sitting right next to each other, the Dutch Reformed Church, a group of the women singing, and I went, no masks? And, they all looked at me like, excuse me, we're vaccinated. Yeah, but acting in a bigger space, we're not on top of each other. But when you're sitting right next to each other, and that's another thing, share with us. Are you comfortable learning music, sitting right next to someone? I got to tell you, if that's going to be my setting to learn my music, I'm going to wear a mask.
Because even though we had a fully vaxxed cast for Sermon of Two Masters, which made me feel very comfortable at the start, there were 4 instances near the end where we had an actor find out someone that they knew or someone who knew someone they knew, was sick. And so we had to, have that actor not come to rehearsal or have them be masked and have everyone we had to take measures that I didn't think was going to happen.
We went through the same thing, and everybody was vaxxed, and the people, they were breakthrough cases with friends and or family.
Yeah.
It's the way of the world. It's the reality. And look, you and I could do a commercial, a PSA for getting vaxxed and masked, but everybody's going to make their own choice.
Yeah.
We just want to do theater. We want to let us entertain
you. Yes. Absolutely.
So, share with us. Let us know what you think about the fall season. What are you going to do? Are you going to go audition? You can take a role if you get cast. Do you think you're going to go inside? Look into your crystal ball.
Yeah. I say at least on a positive note, looking forward to this fall and winter. I keep reminding myself of all the cool, film stuff that's coming out. The film or the filmed theatrical version of Come From Away, and then you got the new West Side Story, and you've got Dear Evan Hansen, and so at least we'll have some form of theater that's not not the true deal. But
hey, maybe we should set up viewing parties with all of our listeners.
Yes. Oh, I would love that.
Do a viewing party, maybe pause, do intermission, have a convo. And listen, if anybody's got a theater, we are starting to sell airtime, or I know I only know it as airtime. The Green Room is going to be a new addition to our podcast. As you all know, the Green Room is where everybody hangs out before a show, before you go out on stage, and you may hang out there afterwards and do a little celebration. So reach out to us. Let us know if you would like us to advertise your upcoming production in the Green Room. And that's all I got for you, Ellen.
I love it. On that note,
I'm Benita Zahn.
I'm Ellen Cribbs. Thanks for listening, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Everything Theater podcast. Special thanks goes out to Alice Grinling for our photography and Justin Friello for composing our amazing theme song. Please remember to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to share your thoughts or what's going on in your theater community, you can reach out to us on social media or through our email at everythingtheaterpodcast@gmail.com. Till next time. It's everything, everything, everything.